So I'm going to be doing little observations as I check out these maps via the debug mod, the debug restoration mod. I wanted to show this tunnel because this is a tunnel that exists in real life in Tokyo, and it's very low. And because of it, this is 1.5 meters. People were trying to use it to figure out the height of the protagonist and the other characters. So you go in here and, well, actually, Dezai is trying to shoot a video in here on the mysterious murders and shit. And you follow him in here. And then Yuzuru runs out. And he's like, hey, what are you doing in here? And then shit happens and you end up in Daat. But look how low. This is a very low tunnel. So the protagonist barely fits. And I think I don't know if this is like completely accurate. I do know that they actually... They have, like, standees at events for the protagonist that's supposed to be at the real height. Like, they'll have the Nahobino and everything. I believe the protagonist is supposed to be, I want to say 5'6". Either 5'5" or 5'6". And, the Nahobino might be slightly taller just because of the heels. But look how low this is. You'd still, he's still seen, like, kind of crouching a little bit, because... If you're not careful, you could easily injure yourself and hit yourself, your head on this. And of course, Dezai and Yuzuru are much taller than the protagonist, so of course they would be bending down quite a bit. But look how low it is in here. This is a very creepy tunnel. So I get the prompt to move. That's interesting. I'm not going to enact it just yet, because I wanted to just kind of take a look at this tunnel. They designed quite a bit of it for this cutscene, but you only get to see it briefly before it collapses, and then you end up in Daat. It's low enough for, like, maybe a small car or bicycle? There's a bicycle path, like, right here. Wow, it's really low. Does it have an end? It does have an end, and it just stops here. Thought I'd check out Gustav's room for a little bit. We only get to see it in the shop menu, and of course you're only viewing it from like a menu, so you only get to see Gustav and like a little bit of what's behind him. The building that he's in is interesting. Of course, it's unfortunate we don't really get any lore on Gustav. Like, all we know is, like, we get more lore on the Memons. The Memons are, like, the most important thing. We don't know much about Gustav, though. Unless Gustav's supposed to be some weird, The only thing I can think of is maybe Gustav is, like, a failed Nahobino fusion, but not quite to the extent that the Memons are. I don't know if anyone has a lore on him. He does sound similar to, was it Rag's Jewelry from Nocturne, though? I know he's supposed to be a reference to him. Like the guy that sells the gems. Yeah, this room goes all the way back. The building that he's in is interesting, too. You access them through the ley line, but the building actually looks like it's a part of the Daat building. The one that's in Daat, the Daat version. Just because of the architecture, which you don't really get to see much of unless you're exploring it like this. And the red carpet that's in here makes me think it's in the, somewhere in the Daat building as well. Which, the Daat building... I know there's some suggestion that perhaps Five's world has some similarities to Nocturne's. I don't know if there's confirmation that they're the same world or not. Obviously, they both experience a conception. But the Daat building in Daat looks similar to the one that's in Nocturne. So I want to say maybe if Gustav is anywhere, he's probably somewhere hidden in that fucking maze of a Daat building. Because, you know, in Nocturne, the Daat building is its own dungeon, and it is quite interesting dungeon. And here's the Cathedral of Shadows. Oh, there's an extra Beano here. I guess because they would normally have you standing here while you can only see this world a little bit, but it's mostly interacting with menus, and then you have the whole cutscene that happens with the fusion. So normally Beano would be standing here. This is a really cool area too. You only really get to see the room itself when you're doing the fusion cutscene. So in Vengeance, you get to pick between two routes, and in the intro, a certain soul ends up passing by this area. Of course, it's you, the protagonist. I'm trying to figure out what this particular area looks similar to. If there's any other place in the game. I guess more like the Empyrean, maybe? Or it's just using similar assets to it. I was joking in a tweet about this, because it reminded me of the intro to Persona 4. I can't remember if this happens in the original 4 or if in Golden, but the protagonist ends up having a dream, and you're in this foggy area going down this long road, and it reminds me of this a lot. It does make me wonder where Yoko's soul is supposed to be contained if you do not wake her up. Like, where is her soul being kept away? So this is an area we only get to see in like the very beginning of the game, during the intro, and also during the death cutscene. I don't know if you get to go here in, I've only been through like the law route on Vengeance so far. I played the original version of the game, and I did like the true neutral ending. But I don't know if you're able to access this tree at all in the cast route for Vengeance. But it is labeled, the map itself is labeled Eden, so this might be the Tree of Knowledge. It's either the Tree of Knowledge or the Tree of Life. And I don't think this area is going to have a lot of collisions, so I might have to make use of the camera in order to explore it. I need to use the camera to actually view this area because I'm pretty sure it does not have collision. I'm just going to use the camera so I can take a better view here. It's lacking, unfortunately, viewing it like this, it seems to be lacking all the visual effects and post-processing that it usually has in any of the cutscenes it appears in. This looks like it's very Souls-looking to me. Of course, a lot of like Souls games, I'm a fan of Souls, and I do bring it up a lot. When I talk about SMT sometimes, but the tree motif type thing is very prevalent in the Soul series, and of course here we have symbology and use of the Tree of Life and the Tree of Knowledge. So I wanted to take a look at this gorgeous map that you only get to see briefly during the conference and the Battle with Shiva. And I know you get a Battle Shiva in both Creation Route and Vengeance Route, but I think the conference happens in the Creation Route only. I love the effects here, especially like the Nahobino walking on the solid surface here that's like water. I love the lotus flowers. I guess it's fitting for as a place to fight Shiva in. It's just a shame you don't get to actually explore it too much. So here's the other tree I was actually talking about. This might be the Tree of Life. There was two trees. It's a Tree of Knowledge and a Tree of Life. This one shows up in the cutscene when the Nahobino, like when the protagonist and the Naogami fuse to become the Nahobino. It only shows up in the background. Or is this the Tree of Knowledge, I'm wondering? Maybe this would be the Tree of Knowledge because of the fruit that's on it. The other tree is just, it doesn't have any fruit on it, so I'm going to assume this is the Knowledge Tree, and the other one is the Life Tree. There's not much to this space, but I thought it's really cool, because you don't get to look at it very much outside of that, like, the fusion cutscene. I'm exploring this area briefly, but this is the area right in the very beginning when you first get into Daat, and you get the tutorial on how to play the game, basically, how to navigate. But I wanted to check out the beginning area, because you never get to go back here, and I think it's a really cool area. You don't quite get a vast open area like this with the tall structures around it ever again, except for like the beginning of the game. It looks really cool. You can even use the sky view, because you don't get access to the sky view until later, I believe. I don't know if you can use it right away. It's like bits and pieces of petrified demons in this area. I'm trying to figure out where the tunnel... Oh, yes, there's a tunnel. You can't go back in the tunnel. Let me see. Does it fit the height? Now, I did have a video where I actually explored the tunnel too, and the protagonist is like right at the ceiling of this thing. So, as the Nahobino, if this thing is the same height as it was before, when I explored it as the human version of the protagonist, Bino is just slightly taller by like a few inches or so. He's like half a head taller. And lastly, this map is named Grave of the Snake God. And you see it every time you fight the... Well, not every time you fight the Kadishtu, but you do get teleported here. A lot. In relation to them. In their ritual of summoning Tiamat. You also fight Tiamat here. I don't remember if there's another fight that occurs here. It's a really cool map, though. It's very big. You don't really get to explore it much. You're only stuck in this small area here. And it's quite a vast map for it being like a battle background, because look at the amount of like different... They modeled all of these different like snake demon skeletons. Look how many different demons are here. There's like massive ones. Would be nice to see if I can get like a close-up on them. I'm not going to actually use the camera on this one. I'm really thinking I want to port this to VR chat, this area here, and just like fly around and be here in VR, like up close, to get a good look at a lot of these demon skeletons that are here. Oh, there's so many too. They went through the extra effort, even for such a small... It's an area you only battle in, you briefly visit. They went through the extra effort to model all of these different skeletons. These like massive skeletons. It's crazy. Can I jump down there? I might be... Not in this one. There's actually a few other... There's a couple other versions of this map that's accessible via the debug, but I can't jump down here. But yeah, I'd like to port this if it's possible. I think that'll be it for the maps I check out via the debug. Most of the Daat and dungeon maps I decided not to check out because those are explorable, like for the most part. I don't think there's too many hidden areas in those maps that I would need to check out via the debug and using the Unreal Engine 4 like console tool to move the camera around. Now, if there is a particular thing when I post this video, if you guys would like me to check out that I haven't checked out already and maybe take the camera through, I can do that. But otherwise, I think this will be it for looking at maps. There's some really, even though a lot of the game takes place in the desert, there's some really cool, pretty looking areas in this game. This isn't part of the maps, the other maps I was viewing that's under the map option here. There's an event test map. Takes you to this area and you can spawn algamis. I'm not sure what it's used. It's probably used for just testing random things. I don't know why you can spawn algami here. As you can see, had the height difference between the Nahobino and algami, though. Apparently, I can spawn two. How many algamis can I spawn? For some reason, he gets like a weird leg thing when I spawn like a second one. Are you actually gonna stay here now? I can spawn like a bunch of them apparently. Oh, there's another one. Can I just spawn like a bunch of them? Oh my god. How many algamis? This is realistic though, because there's a bunch of algami units. How many algami units can we fit in this map? Oh my god, holy shit. We have like a whole army of algamis. It's amazing. Can I fill this an entire map full of algamis? This would be a good way to close out, actually. I was gonna close the video with, what did I end with? The snake grave, but I can end with this. Just an endless algamis.